The night the door slammed shut behind her wasn't just the end of a home, it was the sound of a life breaking apart. 12-year-old Alina stood on the cold pavement, clutching a small yellow suitcase that held everything she had left. The shouting from inside had stopped, replaced by a silence that felt heavier than the fight itself. Her parents' divorce had turned into a battlefield, and somehow, she had become the casualty no one wanted to claim. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us what truly matters, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You never know who might need to hear this today. Alina didn't cry right away. The shock was too deep, too numbing. Hours earlier, she had sat in the corner of the living room as her parents argued over everything. Money, blame, the past, but never once over her. It was as if she had become invisible, a forgotten piece in a broken puzzle. When her father stormed out and her mother refused to let her stay, saying she needed time alone, Alina was left standing in the hallway, holding a bag hastily packed with clothes and a few personal things. Neither parent looked back. She wandered the streets as dusk turned into night, the glow of streetlights casting long shadows that seemed to swallow her whole. The world felt too big, too loud, too indifferent. Cars rushed past, people hurried along sidewalks, and no one noticed the small girl sitting on a curb, hugging her knees as if she could hold herself together. Hunger crept in slowly, followed by fear. Where would she sleep? Who would care if she disappeared? By midnight, Alina found herself near an alley behind a row of houses. A large green dumpster sat against a brick wall, its metal surface reflecting the dim light. Exhausted and desperate, she climbed inside, pushing aside trash bags to make space. The smell was overwhelming, but it offered something she hadn't felt all night: shelter. She curled up tightly, her yellow suitcase pressed against her chest, and for the first time, silent tears rolled down her face. This wasn't supposed to be her life. Morning came harsh and unforgiving. The clatter of garbage trucks and the distant hum of daily routines pulled her from restless sleep. Her body ached, her clothes were dirty, and her hope felt thinner than ever. She climbed out slowly, brushing off what she could, trying to look like she belonged somewhere, anywhere. But deep down, she knew she didn't. Days passed in a blur of survival. She scavenged for food, avoided crowded places, and learned quickly which corners of the city were safer than others. Each night she returned to the same alley, the same dumpster, because even something awful can feel like security when it's the only thing you have. But loneliness was the hardest part. It wasn't just being alone, it was the feeling that she had been forgotten by the two people who were supposed to love her the most. One afternoon, as she sat behind a grocery store, weak and hungry, something shifted. A man noticed her. He wasn't dressed in expensive clothes or carrying any sign of wealth. He looked like an ordinary worker, someone who had just finished a long shift. But his eyes held something rare: concern. He didn't approach her like she was a problem. He approached her like she was a person. Alina hesitated at first. Trust was something she had learned to guard carefully. But there was something different about him. He didn't ask too many questions, didn't push too hard. He simply offered her a sandwich and a bottle of water, sitting a few feet away as if to give her space. That small act, simple, quiet, human, broke something inside her. For the first time in days, she felt seen. The man began checking on her regularly. He never forced her to talk, but he listened when she did. Slowly, piece by piece, Alina shared her story. The divorce, the rejection, the nights spent in the dumpster. Each word felt heavy, but also freeing. And with each visit, something inside her began to change. The darkness that had consumed her started to crack, letting in small rays of hope. One evening, as the sky painted itself in shades of orange and purple, the man made an offer that changed everything. He told her she didn't have to live like this anymore. There were people who could help, places where she could be safe, warm, and cared for. He promised he wouldn't disappear like everyone else had. Alina stood there, her suitcase in hand, her heart racing. Fear and hope battled inside her. Trusting again felt dangerous, but staying where she was felt impossible. After a long moment, she nodded. That decision didn't erase her pain overnight. It didn't magically fix the scars left by her parents' choices, but it gave her something she hadn't had in a long time: a chance. A chance to rebuild, to heal, to believe that her story wasn't over. As weeks turned into months, Alina slowly found her footing. She was placed in a safe environment, surrounded by people who cared, people who showed her that family isn't always defined by blood. She started going to school again, her laughter returning in small, hesitant bursts. And though the memories of those nights in the alley never fully disappeared, they became reminders of her strength rather than her pain. Because sometimes, the darkest moments don't break you, they reveal who you are capable of becoming. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, and share it with someone who might need a little hope today. And before we end, I want to ask you something special. Comment below with one word: hope. Because for someone out there, that one word might mean everything. Alina's story is a reminder that even when life seems to abandon you, kindness can find its way back in the most unexpected forms. And sometimes, all it takes is one person to remind you that you matter, that you always did.